What is going on, scooter friends? Today on our ride and our scooter discussion, we are going to be talking about tuning your scooter, specifically tuning the CVT. So I've got a bunch of tuning weights in this week, and I was waiting for these to come in. They took forever, which is why I didn't do a video last week. And we're going to be talking about tuning today. So we're going to be running 4 grams, 4.5, 5, 5.5, and then just for fun, we're also going to be doing a run of 10 grams. And we are going to be testing uphill speed, downhill max speed, and average time. So I have a determined track length that we're going to be running, well, not track length, but like a test length that we will be running all of these scooter combinations on, and as that's pretty much how I'm going to determine what's the best based on how slow of a speed I'm willing to suffer on uphills getting into work, as well as how slow I'm willing to go on downhills. I anticipate downhill minimum speed probably being around 40. Yeah, like this is getting 40. 41, 42. We're really gonna go faster than that? No, 42. Maybe. I hope you guys are able to accurately read that. We're getting a down speed of 42, which is faster than I thought. I will tell you that the weights that we are running right now are not the stock weights. I will tell you that they are the 4 gram weights. I knew that this was not going to win, so I wanted to start out with this. If you're not able to tell, it is right pegged on the rev limiter. So we are going to come right here. We are going to, let me hit new trip. So it's pegged on the rev limiter. Now for Honda Ruckuses, you want to be holding anywhere over 8,200 RPM, which is why getting a rev limiter is so important for later on. With a rev limiter, you're able to keep that going and get that top speed up. As you see, you'll hear it. Like that right there is the max RPMs. You may not be able to read this RPM gauge. I know it says it's at 8,500 RPMs. That is not the case. As you see, it's going wild right now. It's actually on the rev limiter and just pegging itself, which is fine. These motors are, they're okay. They're designed for that. Obviously, if you have a CDI or a rev eliminator, that is not a good plan anymore. You definitely do not want to do this on something that has a CDI installed. If you do this on a motorcycle that has a CDI installed and you try to peg it, you'll get what's called valve float, which is what you're tuning your CVT for, is to avoid that. Now, because of the area I live in and because it's hilly, I'll never be able to tune it the same way that somebody in Texas does, because they have, mostly flat roads and stuff. So the weights that work best for them probably aren't going to work best for me, because I have to go up and down. In Texas, depending on where you live, it's mostly flat, so you're just tuning for, flat speed. Whereas I have to kind of get a balance of flat speed versus uphill speed, which can be kind of a pain sometimes. But we're moving here. I will already tell you that this is roughly the same exact speed as stock, which is surprising. I did expect this to be even slower, but I think that the uptick in uphill speed is helping it out. It is interesting that it's able to hold about 36 miles per hour on flat, a little over. But if you notice, this 84.50, and this is going down while we're actually going downhill. You actually may not be able to read that, but it says 84.80, 8,500, 85.80, 85.90, and it's going up. But you'll notice that the speed itself isn't changing at all. It's really not doing that much RPMs, I don't think. 31 uphill. That's pretty nice though. But so we will stop at my mailbox as we get close to it, and that will be our recorded time, our recorded max speed, and our average speed. And and our recorded RPMs for acceleration, which on this is going to be over 8,800. You know, we're maxed out pretty much. And then we will swap, and I am going to do all the testing, and then I will just show you the best run, and I will show you all the numbers at the end, of course. I'll let you know what the best weights are and everything. And this is going to work for pretty much anybody who has a Honda Ruckus. You're going to want to run basically the same weights as that I am. So here's my house. We are passing it at 254 is what we'll call it. An average speed of 31.1. Which is faster than I thought. So I am back home after doing all the runs. As you can see, I did 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5. The 4 gram run, we averaged the speed of 31.1 miles for my 1.5 mile sprint. Uphill, we managed 26 with a max of 42 going downhill. The RPM acceleration was over. It was pretty much just pegged at the maximum allowed RPMs, which I believe is 89.50, somewhere around there. So we move over to our 4.5 grams. We averaged the speed of 33.4 miles per hour. Pretty big increase over the other one. That was to be expected once we weren't having an over rev issue. Our uphill is a 28 with a max of 45, and we were at roughly 8,600 RPMs while we were accelerating. When I started this, I did expect 4.5 to actually be the best, and I expected it to actually be like right in between 4.5 and 5 to be the best one. So no surprise there. Now 5 and 5.5 did surprise me. I noticed that these numbers are pretty much identical with the RPMs, which leads me to believe that because they're both so close to 8,200 RPMs, they're pretty much the same. I will be ordering some 5.5 gram sliders, because once you do the exhaust upgrade, this RPM is going to go up a little bit because it has a little bit more power. And so I think that gives me the overhead so that I don't have to order 5s and then 5.5s later. I think that if you live in the city, anything over 4.5 should be fine, but I'd really recommend that 5, 5.5. I don't think anybody really needs to go down to 4.5 unless you're way up in the mountains and you're running the stock carb settings. If you're running the stock carb settings, you're probably going to be very lean, or rather very rich up in the mountains, whereas since I'm at sea level, I make the most amount of horsepower possible at this point, pretty much. Anyways, that is all for today. If you have any disagreements on anything, feel free to post your opinion down in the comments below. Have a great night.